Welcome to part 4 of the orientation video, the foster parent's role. While very rewarding, being a foster parent can be a lot of work and challenging at times. DHS expects foster parents to be flexible, communicate effectively, and be committed to the children placed in their home. Foster parents, whether related to the child or not, have the same caregiving responsibilities. Foster parents are expected to work alongside healthcare providers, therapists, school personnel, and the various other community partners that may be providing services to the foster child. It's also a good idea to have a binder or other organization system for each foster child to keep track of important contacts, appointments, and paperwork. A very important role of being a foster parent is mandatory reporting. Foster parents must protect all children placed with them from harm. You must report to the caseworker any abusive situations the child may tell you about. Additionally, foster parents are mandatory reporters and required by law to report any suspected abuse or neglect to the Oregon Child Abuse Hotline. This applies even if you do not have children currently placed in your home. Your certifier can discuss with you the typical signs of abuse and neglect, and you'll learn more about this during Foundations training. Should you need to make a report, Oregon has a centralized child abuse hotline, meaning they take reports of child abuse and neglect for the entire state of Oregon, 24 hours a day, 365 days per year. To reach the Oregon Child Abuse Hotline, please call 1-855-503-SAFE. Mandatory reporters are vital to keeping Oregon children safe. Most reports made to the Oregon Child Abuse Hotline come from mandatory reporters. When making a report, be prepared to provide as much information as possible. Unfortunately, at times, abuse occurs while the child is in foster care. However, there is much less abuse in foster care than in the general population. False allegations of abuse can also occur while a child is in foster care. Child Protective Services, or CPS, is responsible for investigating allegations of child abuse or neglect, and this includes allegations of abuse in a foster home. If an investigation occurs, be open and honest, remain professional, and contact your certifier to get support from other certified families during the assessment process. The assessment process can be stressful, but there are ways to minimize the likelihood of allegations. It's important that you develop quality relationships with DHS child welfare staff and others interested in the child. You can best protect yourself against an abuse allegation by doing the following. Document your work with foster children and notify the caseworker right away of any child injuries and how they happen. Develop an open relationship with DHS before allegations occur. Get involved with the child's school and other services. And keep up on your training so you can best respond to challenging behaviors. As a foster parent, you're responsible for scheduling and transporting children to their medical, dental, and mental health appointments. If you're unable to do this, you must speak with the caseworker and together plan on how the child or young adult will attend their appointments. All foster children are provided with medical coverage through the Oregon Health Plan, or OHP, to cover medical, dental, and mental health needs. You may consent to routine exams and lab tests on behalf of the foster child. It's important you follow all medical advice from the treating professional and follow any direction by child welfare for the child's medical care. This includes following directions for prescribed medication and recommended vaccinations. If the child or young adult is in need of an exam or surgery that is not routine medical care, child welfare must issue authorization prior to the medical procedure. This includes procedures that involve the use of anesthesia. When signing release and consent forms for routine medical and dental treatment, please do not sign your name. It's generally accepted to sign "Child is in the legal care and custody of Oregon DHS Child Welfare." Make sure to include the address of the local DHS Child Welfare office. Children who enter foster care are required to have multiple appointments and assessments in the first 30 to 60 days of placement. All children must have a complete health assessment with a primary healthcare provider within 30 days of placement, and you'll be responsible for scheduling this appointment. If your foster child already has a relationship with a healthcare provider, please make every effort to maintain that relationship. If a healthcare provider has not been identified for your foster child, you may schedule an appointment with the healthcare provider of your choice, preferably as soon as possible. Make sure the healthcare provider accepts OHP. Request a visit summary at the end of the appointment and provide a copy of this to the caseworker. All children 1 year and older must have a dental exam and cleaning within 30 days of placement, and you'll be responsible for scheduling this appointment as well. All children will receive a child and adolescent needs and strengths screening, also referred to as a CAN screening, within 60 days of placement. This is to aid in identifying any areas of extra support or supervision the child will need. The CAN screening referral will be done by DHS, and you'll be contacted by the screening professional to schedule an appointment. Children 3 years and older will receive a mental health assessment within 60 days of placement. This referral will be done by DHS, and you'll be contacted to schedule the appointment. Children under 3 years old will receive an early intervention screening within 60 days of placement. The referral will be done by DHS, and you'll be contacted to schedule an appointment. Additionally, you'll receive an Ages and Stages questionnaire, or ASQ, to complete as part of the process. All medications, whether over-the-counter or prescribed by a healthcare provider, must be documented on a form that child welfare will provide to you. This form is called a medication log. It is important that the medication log is shared with the caseworker monthly. If a treating professional is recommending the child or young adult start a new psychotropic medication, child welfare must issue prior authorization before the prescription can be filled and given to the child. There are special rules about psychotropic medication for children in foster care. Psychotropic medication is any kind of medication used to alter the child's sleep, mood, emotions, or behaviors. These medications include some common over-the-counter medications, such as Benadryl or melatonin for sleep. They also include stimulant medications such as those for ADHD. Research shows psychotropic medications are prescribed for children in foster care much more than other children. To make sure foster children are appropriately treated for mental health conditions, DHS created a process to review and approve these medications. The policy doesn't apply to medications that a child is already taking when they enter foster care. In continuing with keeping children healthy, foster children under age 5 are eligible for WIC. WIC is a nutritional education program that also provides supplemental foods to promote good health. Through WIC, you can receive free vouchers for baby formula, cereal, eggs, milk, peanut butter, juice, and other nutritional foods to meet the needs of the foster child. Contact the WIC office in your area to schedule an appointment. Mentioning you have a new foster placement may give you priority in scheduling appointments. Make sure to keep records of any health-related information you receive from the WIC staff. Preschool children with disabilities are eligible for early intervention, or EI, services or early childhood special education, also known as ECSE. EI is for infants and toddlers from birth to age 3. ECSE covers children from age 3 until kindergarten. The Oregon Department of Education contracts with regional service areas to provide EI and ECSE services for these children. DHS automatically refers all children under the age of 3 for an early intervention screening. Additionally, you may request that your foster child be evaluated for these services by contacting your local school district if DHS has not already sent a referral for the child or if the child is over the age of 3. Make sure to check with the child's caseworker before submitting an evaluation request. If a child in your care is found eligible for EI or ECSE services, be sure to notify the child's caseworker. Children ages 3 to 5 are also eligible for Head Start programs. Head Start promotes school readiness of children under 5 through education, health, social, and other services. Contact the Head Start program in your area for enrollment information. As a foster parent, you play an especially important role in the educational success of your foster children. Good communication with all the parties in the child's team is vital to the child's success in school. A child placed in foster care needs to be enrolled in school as soon as possible. Due to Oregon law and Every Student Succeeds Act, by default, all children in foster care will automatically stay in their school district or school of origin, unless the court finds that it's not in the child's best interest to do so. In the event of a placement change to a new foster home, the child may continue to attend the school district or school of origin. Schools are required to immediately enroll foster children if a change in school occurs. If a child must change schools, ask the caseworker what school the child attended to request the transfer of school records. Make sure the child is signed up for free or reduced lunch. Each foster child qualifies for this program under both state and federal regulations. Being in the lunch program may invite offers of free or reduced fees for other school charges and extracurricular activities, such as sports. If you find special education services may be needed, submit a request to the school in writing for a special education services evaluation. If a child is determined eligible for special education services, the school will develop an individualized education plan, also known as an IEP. You should participate in IEP meetings and maintain close communication with the caseworker about any educational needs of the child. Communicate with the caseworker about all school issues, report cards, parent-teacher conferences, awards, or issues related to behavior or school discipline matters. Make sure not to enroll a child in any other school or agree to anything other than a regular diploma without first talking to and getting authorization from the child's caseworker. Several permissions are necessary when changing a child's educational services or plan. As a foster parent, you may have to rethink the way you discipline. Traumatized children often have more challenging behaviors, may push your buttons to test your commitment, and may be triggered unexpectedly. Our foster kids have experienced neglect and maltreatment and need to feel safe in your home. Therefore, no physical punishment is permitted. Keep in mind that everything you do teaches something to the child. Many of our foster children may feel that big people hurt little people, that they have little or no control, that adults can't be trusted to keep them safe, that they're not considered worthwhile or valuable, and that they must not feel or talk about their feelings or they'll be in trouble. We want our foster children to instead learn the following. Big people do not hurt little people. They have control over appropriate things in their lives, that adults will keep them safe, that they're valuable and worthwhile, and that their feelings are valid and can be expressed without being discounted or getting in trouble. Parenting a traumatized child will require more patience, skills, and different techniques than parenting a child who has not experienced significant trauma. For support in managing difficult behaviors, we recommend the following. Talk to your child's caseworker or your certifier for support. Talk to your child's school. The school has staff trained in behavior modification strategies. And research appropriate trauma-informed parenting models, such as collaborative problem solving or trust-based relational intervention. Oregon's foster children have certain rights you should be aware of. The Oregon Foster Children's Bill of Rights was established in Oregon law in 2013 and recognizes each foster child has certain essential rights. These rights include to have what every child needs, to be safe, to see and talk to people I care about, to be healthy, to learn, to have my rights protected, to be in a place that meets my needs, to make decisions for myself, to be informed. The Foster Children's Bill of Rights also provides guidance and contact information for complaints, concerns, or violation of rights. The Foster Children's Bill of Rights must be posted inside your foster home. There's also a Sibling Bill of Rights you should be aware of. The Oregon Foster Children's Sibling Bill of Rights was established in Oregon law in 2017 and gives children and youth in foster care specific rights designed to protect and strengthen their bond with siblings. These rights primarily focus on placement of siblings together and continued contact between siblings. The Sibling Bill of Rights also provides guidance and contact information for complaints, concerns, or violations of rights. You can access copies of the Foster Children's Bill of Rights or Sibling Bill of Rights by going to the DHS website or by requesting them from your certifier. Foster parents play a unique role in supporting the reunification of foster children with their parents. One important role is supporting the birth family and closing the gap of separation between the family and the child. There are a variety of ways to work with a birth family. Icebreaker meetings can be one way to build a bridge between the birth and foster family, at which time a birth family can meet the foster family who's caring for their child. This presents an opportunity to pass on important information about their child. However, if an icebreaker meeting isn't possible, there are other ways to help stay connected. Not all forms of support involve meeting the child's family face-to-face, which may not be appropriate early in the case. Sending notes of encouragement, pictures of the child, or artwork from the child are encouraging to the parent while requiring no face-to-face contact. As the family continues to make positive progress toward reunification, there may be more opportunities to provide hands-on support to the birth family, such as attending meetings, appointments, school conferences, and birthday celebrations together, and serving as a role model or mentor to the birth parent. Just remember that any contact between you and the child's family needs to be approved by the caseworker first to ensure safety. Good communication between you and the child's caseworker is an important part of a successful placement. There will be times when you have general questions that need answers, and there will be times when you need to make immediate contact with the caseworker. It's important that you discuss with your child's caseworker the best ways to make both emergency and non-emergency contacts. Each local office will have its own recommendations regarding how to make contact with staff. Generally, email is the preferred method of contact and usually provides the quickest response. Here are some suggestions for effective communication. When contacting your child's caseworker, be sure to provide your name, phone number, the child's name, and a brief message regarding your question or concern. If you need a response within a certain amount of time, be sure to let the caseworker know when you need the information. If you're running out of time and you still haven't heard back from the caseworker, try another contact method, such as a phone call, text message, or email, or include the caseworker's supervisor on email correspondence. There will be times when the caseworker is out of the office for an extended period of time, or for other reasons is unable to get back to you in a timely manner. On these occasions, contact the caseworker's supervisor. Your certifier is also a good person to contact when you're having difficulty reaching your child's caseworker. Discuss with your certifier what constitutes an emergency. A good understanding of what is considered an emergency will help you in determining who to call and when. Outside of DHS business hours, consider using the after-hours foster parent support line by dialing 211 and listening for the parenting option. This service is available from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. In emergency situations, such as medical emergencies, make sure you speak to someone immediately by phone. If the caseworker is not at their desk, contact that person's supervisor. If you still don't make contact with someone, ask for your certifier or the person of the day or person in charge. Let staff know that this is an emergency and you need to immediately speak with someone. Identify yourself as a foster parent and the name of the foster child placed with you. Don't hang up without speaking to someone who can respond to your situation. There will be times you'll need to make contact with your certifier before certain things. Make sure to always contact your certifier before you move. A new safety walkthrough will need to be scheduled within 10 days at your new residence. Make sure to always contact your certifier before someone joins or leaves the household, before using a new respite provider or child care provider, before giving notice to end a foster care placement, before making any structural changes to the home, before you apply to do in-home childcare or another similar job, or before you decide to provide respite care to another family. You'll also need to contact your certifier as soon as possible if any household member is arrested, if an allegation of abuse is made against a household member, if your driver's license is suspended, if there's any change to the physical or mental health of a household member, if another agency wants to use your home, or if you have any other significant change that could affect the safety or well-being of a foster child. The federal government requires state child welfare agencies to plan for disasters and major emergencies. This continues vital services and ensures that each foster child is cared for and protected. In the event of a major emergency or disaster, DHS asks you to do the following. Call 211 within 24 hours of a state emergency or disaster. Report your family's status and location. If you must evacuate your home, make sure you take important contact information, each child's medical card, and each child's prescribed medications and related supplies. You must also ensure that your emergency contact information with DHS is current. Contact your certifier if you need to update it. Many web-based resources can help families prepare for a major emergency or disaster. Your home's location may make you especially vulnerable to disasters such as flooding, tsunamis, wildfires, or chemical events. For information on emergency preparedness, check out the websites for the Red Cross and the Federal Emergency Management Agency. Part of the foster parent's role is to be aware of and use available community resources in your area. If you don't know where to get started, talk to your certifier. Some resources available to foster families and children statewide include free access to Oregon state parks for camping and day use areas, as well as free fishing and shellfish licenses. Additionally, Every Child is an organization that supports foster families and children throughout the state of Oregon and is connected to many resources. Ask your certifier about the local foster parent association and what local resources are available in your area. That wraps up part 4 of the orientation video. Stay tuned for part 5.